Father God, I just want to pray right now.
It's been probably the hardest year of my life. But
Lived out the Bible.
Youth, but I remember the times that I did say yes.
And it's not about yourself, it's about others.
But God demonstrates his own love for us.
And he is worthy. And that was a big deal.
I want it to be that Jesus will meet you wherever you are.
Then I got to be okay with who I am.
Is, hey guys, put your nets down, leave your boats and come follow me.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another episode of Real Talk. It's the segment where we slow things down and say, hey, let's just be real.
What is going on, SKAR fam? Hope you guys are all doing fantastic and just ready for a short little message, some application to real life, and I hope you guys can gain something from it. So as many of you know, I am currently still recovering from knee surgery that I had 3 weeks ago today, and it's not been an easy journey. This is my 4th knee surgery that I've had on the same exact knee. It's probably the second most extensive surgery that I've had on this knee, and it's definitely the second longest that it has taken to heal and to get better from this surgery. So what? Well, if you start thinking about it, there are actually a lot of applications that you can take from going through a situation like this. Not only is there a problem and there's a way to fix it, but the recovery alone takes time and you get better from it. So how do we apply that to ourselves? So first, let's start off talking about there being a problem. If you look at Nehemiah, Old Testament guy, still very relevant. We still get examples and just ways of how to live our lives and just good things that we can learn from the Old Testament. Just because the Old Testament, there's New Testament, doesn't mean that the Old Testament is any less valid. After years of settlement in the Promised Land, where Moses had led the Jews out of Egypt, they wandered around for a really long time, and then they found themselves captive by the Babylonians. Nehemiah rose pretty high up in the government and had helped take over other kingdoms and things like that. Now at this time, Jerusalem was in ruins. It just was not in good shape. God placed it on Nehemiah's heart to rebuild Jerusalem, much like they rebuild your knee or fix it. In the book of Nehemiah, we can see how this problem was solved by rebuilding the city walls. And in the same way, you and I can use the same process that he did. So first of all, we need to know what the problem is. Now, when I started having knee pain, I went to 2 doctors, and the second one took an MRI of my knee, said, I think this is the problem, you need surgery, let's get it scheduled. That was the longest 3 weeks of my life, but it was worth it because I knew what the end result was going to be, and it's getting better. Yes, I'm still recovering, but it is getting better. So Nehemiah went and asked about the condition of Jerusalem, and he discovered that the remnant there in the province who survived the captivity are in great distress and reproach, and the wall of Jerusalem is broken down and its gates are burned with fire. That's in Jeremiah chapter 1 verses 2 and 3. So when you and I can approach a problem or a situation or something, we can ask, what is wrong? What are the symptoms and conditions? What should the situation be like? Who is affected? We should get as many of the facts as we can gather. Then we need to weigh out the facts and the possible solutions so that we can clearly define the problem and make the solution the best that it can be. So Nehemiah didn't just say, let's go to work. Let's do it. Let's go. Now he sat down and prayed. In Nehemiah chapter 1 verse 4, it says that Nehemiah sat down and wept and mourned for days, and I was fasting and praying before the God of heaven. So with faith, we need to approach God and ask for wisdom, direction, and strength in what we're going to be doing. So there can be lots of different causes for problems. Once you identify the facts and what the problems are, you might start looking for the cause for all those problems. Mine was, I've had 3 knee surgeries and I twisted my knee. In the case of Nehemiah, the people there were spiritual, discouraged. They didn't have a leader. They didn't have resources. And they had a lot of people that were causing oppression and opposing them and going against them. So do we just go with the first thing that pops in our head? Before I had knee surgery, I got a shot from a needle about that long, probably about that big around. It was not pleasant. It goes right underneath your kneecap and injects a steroid cortisone medicine in there to help with the inflammation. That was one possible solution. They said, if this works, cancel surgery. You're good then. But it wasn't the only solution. We had multiple solutions or possible solutions that we were ready to take on. So here, Nehemiah also has a few options. Number one, he could do nothing. He could just sit there and say, not my problem. I didn't make it get this bad. I didn't cause the walls to crumble and the gate to burn. But that's not what he did. He could have appointed a group to try to get the people out of there, or to make a deal with the people that were harassing the Jews and tell them, hey, leave them alone, let's go. But instead, he asked God, prayed, fasted, and just said, what else can I do, God? So this part is brainstorming and just thinking of all of the possible things that could be done. So close to the end, you figure out what the best solution is. First, you need to evaluate each option, figure out what the desired outcome is and what the probability of that desired outcome can also be. As you evaluate or think about each of these solutions, ask one more question. If I choose this solution, what is it I'm going to get that I don't want, and can I live with it? There are sometimes drawbacks to decisions that we make. We need to always try to make the best decisions that we can based on the facts that we've got, the questions that we've asked, and the research that we have done. So Nehemiah chose to go to the king, get all the resources and the permissions that he needed to fix the problem, and he took action and made a decision. That's in Nehemiah chapter 2, verses 4 and 5. So once he has a plan, an overall plan in mind, he needed to refine it, put it together, and implement it, or to put it into action. The Bible teaches that problem solving indicates the need for a careful plan. You can't just say, let's go build a house, 15 people are going to help you, and then you end up with the funkiest looking house you've ever seen in your life. That just won't work. But you need to answer questions like, what are the actions that are going to be taken? When, how, and where will these actions take place? Who's going to be involved? You don't want to just get anybody. I don't want the guy down the street on my road to do my knee surgery. I want the doctor that's trained and has done this hundreds and thousands of times successfully to be the one operating on my knee. You don't want people that don't know what they're doing, or people that aren't experienced, or even people that aren't willing to learn. Also, how can the chosen solution be best translated into action? It's one thing to come up with a plan. It's another thing to completely to put that plan into action and to have a good result from that action. How do I get the things that I need, and what time frame do I want this done in? I had a 3-week window where that cortisone shot could have taken effect, and if it did, I wouldn't have to have surgery. But it didn't do anything, and so our next best course of action was for me to go ahead and get the knee surgery. So from Nehemiah chapter 2 verse 6 and on, you can look at the story of Nehemiah and how he carefully put together a plan. He had challenges, but he got over them. They make plans, but plans don't always go according to plan. So he adapts and makes changes as he needs to, and the end result is you achieve your goal. We have to plan our work and work out our plan, just like Nehemiah did. In Proverbs 21:5, it says, the plans of the diligent lead surely to advantage, but everyone who is hasty comes surely to poverty. It means you've got to know what you're doing, do all the research, and get all the information that you need, and you'll have an advantage. But if you don't, you're going to come to poverty. Things aren't going to work out, and it's not going to end well. So finally, when you're all done, you can evaluate. After surgery, I've been to 6 rounds of physical therapy so far, and I've got 3 more scheduled. This isn't a time for me to go get tortured. Sometimes it feels like it, but it's really not. It's a time to strengthen my knee, to strengthen my leg, to strengthen my body, to be able to go back to even a better quality of life than I had before I injured my knee and before the knee surgery. Because how will we ever know if the problem is fixed if nobody ever asks? If you don't try to fix a problem and then say, hey, is that everything you needed? Or is there anything else? Or is this fixed? Or how's it going? Like that, you could just go around assuming that everything is fixed, but you don't ever know for sure. So you've got to investigate and make sure that everything worked out the way you wanted it to. So Nehemiah, when he was rebuilding the wall, the Bible tells us specifically that he had a plan, he put it together, he put it into action. And in Nehemiah 6:15, it says, so the wall was completed on the 25th of the month of Elul in 52 days. He had a plan to rebuild the wall of Jerusalem, and he did it in 52 days because he did everything that he was supposed to beforehand. By the end of all of my recovery and things like that, it's going to be a solid 4 months by the time that I'm back to 100% or even more than I was before this knee surgery. But we need to have a plan of action. So do we want to find the problem, figure out the best plan of approach, or execute the solution and the action, and to go back and recheck it just to be as good as we were before? Maybe. That's one possibility. But a better possibility is to surpass or go past or get better than you were even before you started all this, when you first identified the problem. I'm going to physical therapy to get my strength back in my leg, but we don't just focus on my right leg. We focus on my left leg, kind of, they say, to keep things even. It's to re-strengthen and even strengthen beyond what I was before the surgery and before I injured myself. There's so many applications in real life that use that same mindset. We need to go about doing things with a mindset that not only am I going to get this one thing done or get multiple things done and to be okay at them, we need to have the mindset to do the best thing that we can, to learn the most, to achieve the most, and to get the most out of everything that we try. It can be exhausting. I am so tired every day right now because of the exercise I do at home and going to physical therapy twice a week. But I know that the end result is going to come out in my favor. It's going to come out how I want it to, with me being even better than I was before I injured myself and before I had the surgery. So guys, thank you so much for letting me talk with you. I hope that you guys just got something from this. I love using real Bible examples and seeing how they can link up with real world or current events that are happening in my life or anybody else's lives. You guys, thank you so much for being here. And Karen, I'll pass it back over to you.